And we're live.
All right. Welcome to the DigiNinja Dealer Academy. I always bring you an expert every day at 11. And I have a former car dealer. He sold out his car dealership and bought 9 furniture stores. So welcome back to the show. We were on last week on the sales show.
Yes, sir.
It's a pretty popular show.
Yeah.
We found out that you're the most interesting man in the furniture business for sure. So I want to talk about that for a minute. We talked about your story last time. And we just quickly mentioned that you're a pilot and that you got your, you went after it fast. How many hours do you have now, flight time?
Total flight time is about 170, I think.
So how long have you been flying?
Well, I got my license back in March of last year.
Okay. So March, not even a year?
Yeah.
Wow. That's a lot of hours. So already flying a twin engine and, you have a twin engine. I called you before I bought my twin engine plane.
Right.
And, you said it was a good plane, Baron. Tell me what you have. What's your twin engine?
I've got a Piper Aztec. Really cool. I don't know if you've seen the paint scheme on mine, specifically red, white, and blue, but it was actually used as a mail plane. So mine is known as kind of an SUV of airplanes, so to speak, because of the amount of weight. I'm sure, with you flying, I'm sure you've seen the pilots and stuff doing the weight and balance to make sure that everything's good. Flying, there's a lot of math and science that goes into flying. But my plane specifically, just the way that it's built, the wingspan, everything that goes into it, it can carry a lot of weight. I think something like 2,500 useful load on there. So
wow. So you could, how many seats does yours have?
It's got plenty of room for 6. You could put a 7th on that back seat.
So you can actually, like I have a 6-seater, but 6 grown folks can't really ride in the Baron.
Exactly.
But yours can?
Yes. Yeah. Yours is configured in the club formation where the back seats are facing each other. Yeah. So mine is more of a 3 rows type thing.
Cool.
Yeah, we'll have to go up soon.
Yep. So I've been flying with my pilot. I bought a plane,
right,
and had no idea how to fly it. But because of our business, we do business in 48 states. I got a local pilot who's a certified flight instructor.
Right.
So I'm learning to fly.
Awesome.
And I actually did my first takeoff and landing.
Yeah, that was so cool. When you texted me and I looked over, I was like,
it's really amazing.
Oh, it really is.
And I'm reading. When I dive into something, I go all in. So I'm reading and listening to flight instruction and things. The more you know, this is a serious thing. You better not make any mistakes. But
exactly.
There's less than 60,000 pilots in the United States. That's like less than 0.5% or something.
Yeah,
like that.
I was reading the other day. Total pilots is like just less than 1%, and then multi-engine pilots is only like 10% of the 1%.
Really?
So, yeah.
And you jumped in that 1% of 1%.
It's kind of funny. I give all that credit to Dave Shaw down in Florida. Yeah. I was ready to buy a single engine. I thought in my head, like, hey, if I get my private pilot's license, I need to I need to keep that single engine and learn on that. And he was the one that really kind of pushed me. He said, look, if you're ever going to be flying over water, you don't need to be flying over water in a single engine. Yeah. And so he pushed me and he said, let's go ahead and get that multi knocked out. And in my head, I'm thinking, man, that's probably going to take another couple of months or something. And he said, look, you give me 5 flights and I'll have you comfortable. And then we'll finish it up.
Wow.
And it was a lot of fun.
I know I asked you this last time, but when you decided to go multi-engine, how long did it take before you actually were, I guess, certified? Is that the right word?
Yeah. So I took my private pilot check ride on March 17th last year. And he gave me a week to come back home, kind of get things settled. But actual time, I had 15 hours of flight time in the multi-engine. And it was 7 flights. And so when you're going out learning that multi-engine stuff, really what you're learning is how to fly on one engine, because it's emergency procedures. If one engine goes out, obviously you're looking for the other engine to take care of you. And that's the real reason to have a twin engine. So learning all those emergency procedures.
Yeah. So the safety, that is one reason. Now is the Baron has the single engine, I guess, counterpart, I guess you say. I'm not a plane expert, but I know that it's the Bonanza. The Bonanza single engine is kind of on the the same air chassis as the twin engine Baron.
Right.
So the twin engines does make it a little faster.
Exactly.
So how fast is the Piper?
My Aztec.
I'm sorry.
That's fine. My Aztec will cruise about 175 usually, and that's in knots. So if people are trying to figure out what does that mean in miles per hour, I think you've got to multiply like by 0.29 or something. So miles per hour, it's about 205 to 215, somewhere right in there.
That's right there. You know, I think top cruising speed in the Baron, it is pretty fast. I mean,
yours is going to go a little bit faster than mine,
but I can't, but I lose the ability to haul my whole family.
Exactly.
With
me. So, a lot of people say the 80-20 rule as far as flying is, pick out what you've got to pick a plane based on 80% of what you're going to use it for. So it would have made no sense for you to get a single engine that you can only take 2 people in, if you're trying to take it to the Bahamas or whatever.
But 90% of what I do is flying to see dealers, and it's usually just me, or maybe I'll take a salesperson with me. So,
but a little bit longer hauls. I mean, you've taken it out to Texas.
Yep, I've been to Texas. We went
a couple other states that might be further away. That speed's really going to help you. The comfort of being able to spread out just a little bit more is huge
for sure,
and to be able to do that work.
What about the fuel economy in the Aztec? How many gallons of?
It typically run at about between 28 and 30 gallons an hour. I think yours
about the same.
Yeah. Just pretty close.
Yeah. That's the benefit of a single engine.
Well, and there's so many things to look at as far as how, at full power that thing's going to, probably 40 gallons an hour, but you'll probably notice your pilot once you get up to altitude, he'll start pulling back on some of the things because you're using the wind to try to help you as much as possible.
Yeah. Yep. All right, man. Well, that's cool. I love talking. We're going to have a aircraft show or
that'd be fun.
Aeronautical show.
There you go.
Get some more experts on here. Now, so we've got the furniture expert, the sales expert, and the plane expert with me. I have a very limited window of expertise, but I am an expert when it comes to operating a dealership and running a dealership and increasing sales. I have, with my team, we have increased sales for absolutely thousands of dealerships across the country. And I wrote an article this morning on LinkedIn, and I got to look, and I've actually wrote 39 articles. So if you're interested in my expertise, I do have a lot of very practical information on LinkedIn. Just click on my profile, Billy W. Merritt, and then go to articles. I want to hit some highlights of what I read this morning because when I started thinking about how we do what we do, it just became real apparent to me that increasing sales, and I think this will carry over into furniture because you've done it. Now, I'm not saying you've done all 3 of these steps, and you may have some different opinions, so we'll get your opinion. This is an absolute 100% proven fact. We've proven it in over 2,500 dealerships across the country. Maybe you'll agree with all of it. If not, we'll talk about the differences. Sure. Okay. So, the title of my article is Selling More Cars is Too Easy. It's really an easy process to increase sales. There's 17,000 car dealers new car dealers across the country.
Right.
And every single one of them have the same goal. I want to sell more cars. They all have the same goal. And I'm sure furniture stores, when you have your sales meetings, you're talking about how to increase sales.
Right.
You're probably not saying, hey, let's hit 90% of what we did last year.
Exactly.
So in the car business, let's see if I can read my small printer typing here. I broke it down to 3 simple steps. It's as simple as 1, 2, 3. And you can read this whole article on linkedin.com, Billy W. Merritt, click on the articles. Rule number 1 is stop wasting advertising dollars on things that don't work. In the car business, we source our leads based on where they come from. And I've helped some dealers straighten out their CRM and straighten out their advertising budgets. First thing I do is look at how many sources they have. And some of them have 20, 25 sources. How many sources? That's entirely too many. And my number 1 step is very drastic, and I'll tell you about it in just a second. But in the furniture business, how many sources do you get your leads from?
Just kind of randomly thinking with no preparation. I think there's probably 4 or 5 different sources.
That's not a bad number. That's not. I'm glad it wasn't 25, because then it's going to be uncomfortable. My next step right here.
I watch a lot of other, furniture sales, cars, everything like that, and I do see them spread themselves thin. They're trying to like go after every fish in the sea. And actually I was one of those guys early on when I first opened my business, and something you just said there really played into a mindset that I've got that came from the chief marketing officer from Chick-fil-A. He came down and spoke to my group a couple of months ago, and something he said that was very poignant for me was that advertising is a tax you pay for customer service that's not great. Mm-hmm. And so, I think as we kind of build on that, you've got to kind of figure out if you'll use your advertising to kind of go along with your customer service. And I think you guys do. I consider customer service to be that before the sale part of it. I mean, would you consider? Yeah,
customer service is that, and it's in this article, man. What you're saying is going to fit right in. I'll read it, and it'll fit right in to what you're saying. I'm glad we're on the same page. Customer service is before and after, though. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And I'll go ahead and jump to it now. If you are spending money on branding and brand awareness, that's a waste of money. Your sales, if you provide the customer with a wonderful sales experience and customer service, they will be your brand ambassador.
Exactly.
So, that's 100%, it's all about giving and providing that great customer service. So, and I'm glad, that you 4 or 5 sources. That's good. That's a great start, in my opinion. The 80-20 rule you mentioned earlier. Okay. It's the same thing with advertising. It's the same thing with everything in life. It's not about how many sources you have leads coming from. Where are you getting 80% of your leads from? I bet you're getting 80% of your leads from 2 or 3 of those 4 or 5 that you have.
Exactly.
So, I don't want to skip anything, but I'm going to get to the 80-20 rule again right here. Now, a lot of people use CRM for a lot of different things, and a lot of it's not helpful. But if you are using your CRM to label your customers and to label the sources where they come from, that is a great thing to use a CRM for. There's a lot of things that in CRM are useless for, but that's an entirely different show. Now, if you don't have a CRM, look at your last 100 sales. Okay. It's very important that you look at your sales. You can do it with a pen and a piece of paper. The last dealership that I took from selling 10 or 15 cars to 50 to 60 cars, basically overnight, we sold for 2 months. And then we looked on a piece of paper. We didn't have a CRM. That's why I created DigiNinja, because we didn't have a CRM, and CRMs were useless in a lot of ways. So now we have our own tech CRM, which is DigiNinja. But before we had that, I wrote it out. All 100 customers, what they bought, the model of the car, where they came from. I discovered 2 things. We sold an awful lot of Altimas, and 90% of them came from Facebook.
Right.
So what I did, now I went drastic. I went even more drastic than I recommend in the article. I cut off every other source of advertising and focused on Facebook. And I bought every Altima that I could get at Jacksonville, Atlanta, Orlando, Daytona, and we focused on selling Altima. So that 80-20 rule, I think, carries over into marketing, sales, what you're selling, inventory, probably inventory. Tell me about the 80-20 rule and how you use it, or if you do with Badcock.
Yeah. From a furniture standpoint is, we've got a core. We've got a core customer. Obviously, everybody's got a core customer they're trying to market directly to. But, as far as what we put inside our store, Badcock has been around for 117 years. So, they've got a pretty good idea of who that core customer is. And we're 80% of our marketing, 80% of our sets on the floor are whether it's living room, dining room, bedroom, whatever it is, are specifically for those particular customers. And then our other 20% is, let's just try this. Let's just test this. Let's just see where this is going. But I think in a lot of ways, people with inventory, people with sales, with advertising, everything, they see one little thing, maybe they had a good week on radio. So then they pour everything right into radio. And I think you've got to kind of, keep a good core of 4 or 5. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. Makes sense. Sure it does. And that's not about, so I'm not advocating that you have to be super strict with what I'm about to tell you, because it's a drastic step. I say, see where your top 5 are coming from. See where your top 3 are coming from, and cut off everything else. You'll still have 20% of trickle in, repeat business, referrals, things like that. But if you'll laser focus on your top 3 sources, and I took it all the way down to 1, and I still do that today. Well, for the last 3 years, the only product I sell is Facebook events. And, people say, well, you can make money selling direct mail. I know, I sold a lot of direct mail. You can, there's so many, you can increase revenue streams. That's true. But until my number 1 revenue stream is just automatic, where I don't have to manage it, and I don't have to, and you're always providing that, to provide that super customer service experience or buying experience, you're going to have to take some time dealing with hands-on with your customers.
Well, there were 2 things there. You make some great points, but maybe what might be a little bit different in the furniture market is we are looking for that repeat business. I don't know what you guys, maybe you're wanting that repeat business in the car business, with the dealers or with the customers. I'm not sure. But what I saw with the direct mail was we did that the first year, but we were having to send out massive amounts, and I could tell that it wasn't bringing in new customers. It was just the people that were already shopping with us. It kind of put us top of mind, but looking at like a 1% return on that. And I think, you've got to look at what return you're coming in on. And so many people Facebook is tremendous on that. And so much bigger than some of these other platforms and areas. And we're using Facebook. You can use Facebook to pull in new customers. You can use Facebook to talk to the people that have already bought from you that might be looking. You can do so many different things with Facebook that you can't do with direct mail.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can. We've even now there's the old school car vendors out there that still sell direct mail, and they have a lot of business. A lot of dealers want direct mail, but what we've started doing is kind of getting off subject, but is adding Facebook to it and adding text to it by putting our text number on there. They can call the call center. We'll explain the event to them, and also having a QR code that goes straight to the Facebook event page, which is really cool.
That's
so
awesome.
kind of now the cost of the direct mail is so much. If it was my dealer, I'd say, hey, let's cut out direct mail and just do the digital. But there is a segment of the population that goes to their mailbox, and they appreciate that. It's just 1%, like you said. Yeah. But if that 1% all comes in and buys, then you can have an effective event. It is not efficient, in my opinion. So that's one thing that I cut out. People still use direct mail, and if direct mail fits you and your customer, that's okay.
Okay, so a quick question for you then. Out of the dealers that have done the Facebook events with you, that come and spend their dollars, are you having some that are doing repeat events?
Oh, absolutely. We have a 90% re-sign rate.
Wow, that's huge.
On our dealers we have a 90% re-sign rate. Now, 10% of the time, okay, we have not, that to me says we have a 90% success rate. So
right.
10% of the time we have an unsuccessful. Either it wasn't good enough for them to do it again, or maybe we did something wrong. Maybe they weren't a good fit. I'm always looking to see what the problem is.
So you consider the dealer your customer.
Yeah.
Okay. So do you do some type of follow-up with the dealer to say, all right, maybe we didn't do something right here. Let's try to shift this or shift who we're targeting.
Yeah, absolutely. And normally we know we're checking every day. Like Jamie, when you come in, Jamie's working. He's always working. And,
right.
and then Joey's on top of the events that he has going on right now. Jose's doing the same thing. So and the ninjas that are actually setting the appointments, they know that if we're not getting we have a goal. If we're not getting a certain number of appointments locked down for that day or that time of the week, then they got to report it to, a manager, report it to me, call me, text me. I got to know when it's not working right. So we go ahead and dive in and see why it's not working. Paul, the operations manager, Joey, Jamie, myself, we're always looking at our appointments. And if something's off, then we go ahead. Is it the ads? Is it the audience?
Maybe the verbiage.
Yeah. Is it is the target audience wrong? Are the ads not performing well? So we'll just start, looking for solutions. We look for problems and then look for a solution.
And really, to me, that's what sales is a solution for a problem. I mean, every single person that walks in my doors at the furniture store, they have a problem. Maybe they need a new sofa. Maybe they just need to make a payment. But whatever that problem is, it's our job to figure that solution out and make it happen.
Yeah. So. And back to the marketing side. So my suggestion to car dealers is go with 3 sources. Spend all your money from the other sources that are giving you the 20% return. Put it all into your top 3, but you got to know who your ideal customer. You mentioned it. You got to know who your ideal customer is. Who is giving you 80% of your business, and spend 80% of your ad dollars targeting them.
Exactly. Yeah. So how often would you recommend to dealers to kind of move that marketing money around? One of the things that I had a problem with early on was how quickly I if I did a direct mail and it didn't work that well, I'm moving my money really quick. Would you say for car dealers to kind of, if you don't have a good sale, to change things up a little bit, but try another sale just with a little bit different approach to that sale?
Okay. So you ask a couple of different questions there. So if you have, that's why I say 3 things, because there's going to come a time when Facebook is not the best advertising source 100%. Out there. Now that is not the case right now, because Facebook is the most effective way to get your message out. 70% of Americans, including your grandmother, has a Facebook account. So, but there's going to come a time when that's not so. So, that's when number 2 and number 3 are going to be important. So I would monitor those, and as they change, looking for a way to add something. But I would keep 3 to 4, sources going at all times. But shotgunning out there on a bunch of different things to see what's happening, that's not efficient either. It's not good. It's money wasted, time wasted on doing things that aren't productive. It's all about ROI. So, now that doesn't mean be closed-minded. Okay.
Exactly.
So, cause I am adamant that Facebook's the only thing that I sold for a long time. Now we have software, the DigiNinja, which doesn't depend on Facebook's performance. So I can take DigiNinja and plug it into Facebook, cars.com, Car Gurus, Auto Trader, your website, wherever your leads are coming from. If you have 25 sources and you want to manage it all through, text message selling, in our platform, DigiNinja is a solution for that. But my point of that is, until I found another solution that was close to Facebook, DigiNinja, I only sold that one. I was specialized. Now, is that risky? Yes, it is. Because when we started out, I said, what, if we can get a year out of this, we'll be in good shape. Okay. Right. And we got 3 years out of it. December tested us. December, there were some problems with ads delivery. We had,
oh man, I can tell you that.
We had tons of dealers, relying on us to finish their month strong. And we had less than a 90% success rate in December. That was painful because we pride ourselves on the 90%. What did we do? January, we worked for free, fixing those events, following up, getting them the return that they needed, so that in February they're buying events again.
Right.
So you have to be open-minded, because and right now Facebook events are our events, we're having more success in February, more appointments than ever before in February. Now is the best time to do Facebook events. But if that turns south again, we have a backup.
Got to have the plan B in there.
Exactly. A plan B. You will not be worse off for having a plan B. That's for sure. Okay. So we've touched on number 2, which is move all your ads dollars that were previously spent on everything other than the top 3 to your number 1 source. Okay. If this seems unbalanced, it is. but you don't need balance. You need leads. You need cars sold, and you're going to get cars sold by increasing your leads. You don't need brand awareness. You need leads.
I completely agree. I think, you know, and the funny thing about the way that advertising goes is, you know, something that might not be effective today might be effective in a few months or something like that. But the effectiveness of it is sometimes down to price and, you know, what it costs to actually bring those leads in on the different platforms. So, you know, perfect example was, you know, 4 or 5 years ago, I felt like radio wasn't a great lead generator for us to get that word out. But it wasn't the fact that they didn't get the word out. It was the cost to get the word out. And I think radio in general realized that, and those costs came down a little bit, and it became more effective because of the cost. And I, you know, trying to follow some of the big guns, you know, to watch what's happening in there. And Facebook is a perfect example. You mentioned December. You know, for me, I could tell immediately that the cost per ad, just the ad cost in general, just skyrocketed for us, and they weren't placing those ads, you know, at good times on you know, different timelines, whatever it was. They weren't placing them, and I felt like they were going more the political route all of a sudden of, you know, what is that? Did you see that they were cutting those down and going up on price?
Well, it wasn't that they were going up on price as much as they were suppressing ads managers across the country. And, you know, there's some, I have some reasons to believe the why behind that, but that's, I'm not going to get into that, but I personally talked to 35 different media buyers who use this platform as well to place their media buys. And they all experienced a suppression of delivery more than the increase of cost. What it was that there were some algorithms set that prohibited ads from going out. So if you did get a lead, even though that the ad spend, the ad said it was spending, it wasn't delivering. So it was really a misnomer. It was not accurate that your lead cost was so high. Well, I guess it was because I got a refund.
Really?
Yeah, because I mean, we kept on saying the ads aren't going out. I know they aren't going out. We know they're not going out. Oh, well, you know, we're not seeing this one anywhere else. Meanwhile, 35 other agencies were experiencing the same thing.
And I could tell in January, it's like they took part of an algorithm back off, and they're like, all right, well, and it literally skyrocketed back up, and you know, our lives were going out better. Even our, you know, our unpaid, because you've got the organic, you've got the paid, and our organic stuff was going better, and we were having a lot more fun with it. But you could tell that something changed in there, and I think you know, kudos to Facebook for opening that back up, but I can see no better time in the past than literally right now on Facebook.
Yeah, I mean, February it's been the lowest lead cost we've ever had, the highest lead counts, which is converting to the highest number of appointments, highest show rates, everything. And it's, you know, spring's coming up. It's a wonderful time to be selling and be advertising on Facebook.
I agree.
But I want to make this point really clear, Smith. Here's a good whatever. What do you call them?
Clip commercial.
Here's a good clip. Okay. Mr. Dealer, listen to me. Mrs. Dealer, listen to me. Stop listening to vendors who tell you that they are not lead providers, or better yet, stop spending money with vendors who are not, and admittedly not, lead providers. You don't need brand awareness. If you do a good job with the sales experience with the customer, you'll sell more cars. And so what you need is more leads. So make sure that you're spending money on lead generation, not on brand awareness. That's the biggest key that I could give, the best piece of advice I could give you to increasing your ad delivery and your ad efficiency.
I like it.
Yep. That's so. Don't listen to them. There's a particular big vendor who's very, very big, and they used to provide leads. It was in the early 2000s. I was running the ads department and running the internet department for a pretty big retail dealer. And I think the package we were buying from this one vendor, one of the biggest vendors out there, was about $10,000. And the leads were just coming in. And, you know, that was back before internet sales was like the primary, that everybody was focused on it, but we just crushed it. People started coming in and getting market share away from this vendor, and it started getting less and less. That vendor actually started a campaign and telling all their salespeople to tell their dealers that we're not a lead provider, that we're just making sure that we keep you out there in front of people. I don't need you to pay you $10,000 to do that.
Exactly.
So leads are where it's at, and don't listen to the other people who tell you to stop calling these leads. They are leads. You need to be focused on leads. They're not a customer until they buy from you. So focus on leads, call them what they are. They're leads.
That's it.
All right. So if you just listen to number one and number two, number one being let's read it verbatim again here. So I don't want to give conflicting testimony. Stop wasting advertising dollars on things that don't work, and move all your ad dollars from the sources that aren't working to the one that is working. That's if you just follow those two things, it will drastically increase your number of cars sold. I truly believe that. I've seen it happen thousands of times all over the country. But here's the biggest one. If you want extraordinary increase in sales, then you have to do number three. And I don't have to look at my notes for this one because it is a passion of mine to get the message out. I really love it when I know when I know something's coming, I see a trend and I can put people on that trend and people can benefit from it. I like the fact that the Facebook event sales have been tremendous. It really changed the car. It really changed the way people buy cars. And I put a lot of people on that. We built this business based on that. And then there's hundreds of people, copying exactly what we're doing.
Right.
To me, that's a good thing. It means, Billy, you were right. And if I introduce that to the car market, then I've affected hundreds of thousands of people. That's exciting. Well, there's a few people trying to do what I'm telling you to do right now. And this is the future of car sales. And we're implementing it as much as we can, but we have to have the dealer who's bought into it as well. If you want to just totally dominate your market, then you need to turn your entire dealership, at least the front end of your dealership, into a live internet response team. Okay. I'm talking about your receptionist, all your salespeople, your sales managers, and your GSMs. Go as far up and as far down as you can. If you could get the wash guy to do it too, that's wonderful. If you could get the owner to do it too, that's wonderful. They probably are looking at reports and ad budgets that they may not. But if you will have all of your ads dollars focused on lead generation in the most convenient method for the lead, for the customer, which is usually text message,
right?
Okay, or Facebook Messenger, either one, website chat, but again, specialized text message, Facebook Messenger, Instagram Messenger. But if you have all your advertising dollars pushed towards creating those digital leads, and then have your receptionist ready to answer the phone, let her be, logged into the CRM as well. If you have DigiNinja, that's wonderful. Everybody can be logged in with their own access to the inbox. But if you respond to those leads in real time, your salespeople respond in real time. There's method behind this. We won't break down exactly how to do it where the system takes care of, like, we won't be fighting over the same lead.
Right.
You'll have access to lead. If you're out selling a car, if you're on a test drive, you don't need to be trying to answer a lead, right?
Exactly.
So who is available? Then that person's going to get an alert to answer this lead quickly, giving them the information they want. Hopefully you're doing it with text message. That way, when they text in, you have you number one, get them to opt in, but now you can text them back. You have that data. It's not stuck on Facebook. It's not stuck, in a chat cloud that you can't, follow that customer. They text you and they're opted in. You can text them back,
and you've got that history, so you can start to build that rapport.
Yes, yes. And you know what? Rapport is important, but what we teach is, and what's in the book is, you want to build that trust, and then rapport will come. So many people teach building rapport first, and you text me, hey, how are your kids doing? that really doesn't mean anything.
Exactly.
They don't care about
They
that.
don't do it.
But, yeah. But if they say, hey, I want some information on this particular product, and you give them that information through text message that provides that distance,
Right.
convenience, they're in their comfort zone. There is no pressure.
Exactly.
You're giving them the information, and then, hey, would you like some more information on this, and you're giving. This is different. So
you're adding value to what, to me in my head, it's all about value of how can I add that value to the customer and how quickly can I do it? It doesn't add any value to start the how are your kids doing?
Means nothing.
That brings no value to them. Getting them what they want and what they need as quickly as possible.
Yes. So I'm actually going to read this so that I don't miss any of the appointments. Again, this is what we do. We turn as many dealerships as will buy into the entire process into a digital internet department, because everybody's on the internet and everybody's on the cell phone. So if you can communicate with them in real time, that's wonderful. Turn your entire sales and BDC into a live internet call center that sole focus is appointment-based selling through instant digital communication. Every person connected to sales, including the receptionist, should have one goal: instantly answer internet leads using the customer's desired method of communication, usually text, and provide useful information using the art of text message selling. There's a plug, but it's very useful. Using the art of text message selling, and then to convert those conversations into appointments that show up and buy cars. That's what it's all about. It's all about cars sold.
Agreed.
And getting that most effective process in place. And I'm telling you, the dealerships, I'm talking to the dealers right now, the dealerships that say, you know what, I'm going to turn my entire sales department into an internet live response team, is going to dominate the future.
I agree.
And I see some people doing it, and it's exciting. I tell you what, there's entire billion-dollar investments and startups doing exactly that. You got this Vroom now, I think what it's called, never go to a dealership again.
Right.
They're making, I don't think they're profitable yet, but their entire business model is built upon internet response team and being fast and providing that information and being helpful. Now, so if investors are willing to put up billions of dollars, hundreds of millions, I don't know exactly what Vroom costs to start up, but you have Carvana did the same thing. I don't know if they're profitable yet either or not, but there's enough people buying. There's enough market share that they're worth investing the money. Amazon didn't make money for many, many years.
Exactly.
So if they have the infrastructure, then they're going to dominate the future. What I'm trying to get my dealers to understand: don't fight Carvana, don't fight Vroom. Take their business plans, copy them, implement them into your dealership, and use good people. Here's why people don't want to deal with salespeople. They're not good salespeople. They're trying to trick, fool, close a deal.
They're not adding value to that
not.
customer.
Absolutely.
That's what it boils down to.
So if you'll take the Carvana Vroom, take what's appealing to such a big market and implement those things into your dealership, then your dealership will be an instant internet response team. Your entire sales department will. You'll have people talking to those leads and being helpful and providing information and scheduling test drives and scheduling deliveries and things like that, while your salespeople are out doing product demos, doing test drives. And then when they're back in their system, they'll have access to these things where they can provide their because here's the one: I love salespeople. I'm not Carvana. I love salespeople. I love helping salespeople. Salespeople they have special skills, specialized knowledge that's very useful, helpful, and man, they deserve to make a lot of money, because this, being a salesperson can be real tough, and I'm the salesman's advocate. So, you need to implement your response team into your salesperson, have it all where it fits together and works cohesively.
I like it.
Yep. Did we have any comments today, Smith?
No comments today, sir.
These rascals are watching and not commenting. Not even any comments about the airplanes, huh?
No comments about the airplanes.
All right.
They'll start rolling after the show.
Yeah, they'll start rolling after the show. They will. So I'm going to finish my private. I'm going to jump right into the twin, since I have a twin engine, and then I think that's going to free me up where I can go see dealers and stay as long as I want to.
I think that's a great idea.
You fly to South Florida pretty often?
Very often. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
How often do you fly down there?
At least twice a month.
Really?
Yeah.
And so how long would it take you to drive down there if you're having to drive?
5.5 hours.
5.5 hours in a car. How about in the plane?
About an hour 15, hour 20.
Hey, I talked to our I hope you're still wanting to put a partner with me on a hangar here in Douglas.
I would love to look at that.
Yes. So we're supposed to get the plans back hopefully in the next day or two. Build our own hangar. And so here's what I found out. So you can't sublease it. Like if we could sublease it, that would be cool. But you can have a partner. So if both our names are on there and we want to put as many of our planes in there or our friends' planes in there as we can, I think that's acceptable. And a lot of places after 20 years or something, the airport owns the hangar. We build the hangar. We always own the hangar. So I like that idea.
That's huge.
The convenience of a hangar is a must have if you're going to have an airplane.
Yeah. Having it sit out on the ramp, the sun, the weather, everything kind of beats it up. And these planes are. I'm sure yours is probably a few years old.
Yeah,
mine's my plane itself. Mine's a 1967. So. But everything on the inside of it's 2019.
Exactly.
So,
and I got I got 2 brand new engines because those annuals make you keep it brand new. You know what I'm saying?
Believe me, mine is in annual right this minute.
Yeah.
So,
is it?
Yeah.
Where do you keep it at when you're not flying or it's not an annual?
Typically keep it in Valdosta right now. I've got a small team hangar down there. And Dave takes care of me down at Flight Fast Track. Mm-hmm. And, so I'm back and forth all the time down there, and that's an easy flight. And he and I are best friends. So.
Cool, very cool.
Yeah. So what are your plans? Are you planning on? You said getting your private. So how much time are you looking at? So you're training in the 152.
I'm training in the 152 Cessna, and so I plan on in the next 10 or 15 hours doing my solo. I think that's acceptable, isn't it? Yeah. 10, 15 hours. I mean, I was probably more towards the 20-ish hour mark, and everybody's different. The one thing that I would say is to go ahead and get that written out of the way. That's a written exam. It's 60 questions from the FAA. You go into an office, can't have anything with you, but they pull those 60 questions out of a bank of about 1,000 questions. So it's everything about the plane from, how is your engine constructed to, what do you need for taking off? What are the four parts of flight? Lift, drag, weight, all those things. Gotcha. So, is it multiple choice?
It is. Every question gives you three choices. So everybody takes a different route. There are different programs out there to help you study. I've got all the programs on my phone. I was nervous. It's a nerve-wracking thing, but there's no need to be nervous. I wish I would have realized that. Wish I would have talked to more people.
Yeah.
But I think it's the same in sales of, talking to more people, having mentors around you.
Yeah.
Is a huge part of that.
Very much so. So I'll maybe 15 to 20. Then I don't want to, I'm not going to rush it. This is very important. Right. So if in 15 to 20 hours, if I can solo and then, and get those other things. Now, are you instrument rated?
Not yet. I'm actually, I was choosing between multi and instrument. Because you can't do both at the same time, but planning to go back down to South Florida and knock out the instrument later this month. So, okay. I've flown a lot of instrument time. I've got a really nice avionics package that I've done a lot of practicing with a safety pilot and stuff.
So when as long as you have a safety pilot with you, you can actually build that instrument time
as long as they are instrument rated.
Correct. Okay.
Yeah.
Night flying, have you done that?
Oh yeah, I love to night flight
really?
now.
I
hated it at first, but I mean, as long as it's what they consider VFR conditions of, that you're not flying through the clouds to go at night. But man, the night flying, it's like flying on glass most times. It's so easy as far, because you don't have the sun beating down on the earth. The sun does a lot. It heats the ground, and the ground sends back up these thermals, and that's what causes, if you're at low altitude, that's what causes some of the turbulence bouncing around, things like that. So
wind shear, right? They got
yeah.
It's pretty fun. So I'm gonna dive right in. How long do you think, based on what you know about my limited experience with, I do have a lot of hours riding in the right seat. You know what I'm saying?
And that really helps. It really does. And one of a good friend of mine that actually works for me now down in Valdosta, Mr. Jim Morgan, he jumped in the sim, and I guarantee you, he has so much simulated time. He's on his sim all the time, literally all the time. I bet you from that sim, he could go jump in a plane and fly a plane just fine.
You know what? I know he could, because I feel the same way about Cooper. Our oldest son, he's actually going to be an aeronautical engineer.
Oh, nice.
But I don't know, he hasn't expressed interest to take flying lessons or become a pilot. But I have a sim, and he is in that thing more than me. And absolutely, I'm convinced. I know he could, because I think it's exactly like being in a plane, except,
right?
Except you're not. But if you can use that sim, and he can flawlessly start, run up, take off, fly, land, program everything with the instruments, a 737 from any airport.
That's cool.
From any New York City to Atlanta, wherever. I mean, he could land a 730. He can fly a 737. Now,
wow.
I know it's different when you're in the real thing, but knowing what to do is the main thing.
That's it. Yeah. And really, when you're training, when you get past that solo point, every bit of it is emergency type procedures, because getting off the ground, getting up into the sky, those type things are easy. But what happens when crap hits the fan?
Yeah.
And that's really probably 80% of your multi-engine training is going to be on one engine. So they'll pull the right engine back where it's not running, and you're flying off the left engine, and understanding how to balance that. It's pretty cool.
Very interesting. So how long do you think before I can take off to Texas by myself to visit a dealer in the Barren?
It really depends on your instructor of, getting you to the solo point. How quickly do you want to? I mean, if you were, on a fast track type program, you start today. I mean, literally, I started, went in February 8th of last year, and took my check ride March 17th. And a week and a half later, I was flying a twin engine. I mean, it depends on how quick you want to do it. You can, I've seen guys spread it out 6 months or a year. And I myself went through in, a month and a half. And
so my pilot, he works 5 days on and 5 days up. My pilot and my flight instructor works 5 days on and 5 days off, another job. So if I get him for 5 days in a row, like every 10 days, out of every 20 days, I'm training 10.
Right. If he'll fly with you those 5 days that he's home, if he'll fly with you and get you on that path, you're looking at a couple of months. You're up and at them.
February, March, April, middle of April. I'd like to solo the Barren.
Wow.
I'm gonna give it a shot
awesome.
anyway. That would be awesome. We need to go somewhere, man. We need to load up some friends and get Smith, who's never left the country, on a plane.
Oh man.
Great job today, Smith. I know you got two people in here talking, so he's just been monitoring things over there. We need to get Smith taken to the Bahamas.
Oh yeah.
Have you flown? Where's the farthest you've flown so far?
Flew from Fort Myers to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. That was fun. And then, couple of times, of course, going from Fort Myers around to Mobile. That's where my family's at. My wife is at, and wife and kids are out in Mobile, Alabama. But it's kind of funny. The first couple of times that I went out there from Fort Myers, I kind of hugged the coast all the way around going up there. And probably 3 months ago, I finally said, you know what, I'm going to go direct and see
over the Gulf.
So there were 350 miles or so over water. That as soon as you kind of get out far enough that you can't see land, you're like, oh man, this is crazy.
I flew from Fernandina to Clearwater, Tampa executive, and picked up Glenn Lundy, and we flew from there to Texas. And well, we went to Louisiana first, so that was a long shot, like you're talking about, over the Gulf like that. It was it's different, man.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Wow, it's funny to hear that name. I just spent 4 hours listening to his room on Clubhouse.
Yeah, Glenn's a good dude. He flew with me out there. I needed to go see some dealers. He needed to go see some clients or some people that was helping him on some projects. So we just worked out. I said, hey, I'll fly you out there, and we got to spend some time together and visit some people. It's really cool. We got to do it again. Pretty soon we're going to get old Shaka Dyson in the studio. So
that'd be cool.
Got to go get him. Wait on this weather. I don't want to fly up there and, I can't fly in the ice. If it's too cold, that's going to.
It could.
Yeah.
Do you know if you have de-icing boots?
I don't.
Okay.
I don't. Yep. Do you?
Yeah. I do not.
Yeah.
No.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I would change if I bought a new one, would have something with de-icing so that we could at least fly in some of this up north and some of this colder weather. Right now, we have to stay down south.
Right.
I
got you.
Well, tomorrow's Feel Good Friday. You talk about an expert. If you don't think he's an expert, just ask him. Paul Sullivan's going to be on here tomorrow, and he knows more about production and the proper way to do this than me and Smith put together. So we're going to call him Paul Squared from now on, because he knows twice as much as you and me, Smith.
He's got a vision.
He's got a vision. I love him. I'm going to be on here tomorrow. Feel Good Friday. I hope he brings the beer of the day. He's always bringing something special. I hope he brings in something special tomorrow. You know what, Smith?
What's
Tell him to
up?
bring 3. He only brings 2 every time.
I know, right?
All right. Hopefully there's some good information that you can use on these clips. And I'm telling you, Mr. Dealer, Mrs. Dealer, General Manager, GSM, if you'll watch today's show and go to LinkedIn, Billy W. Merritt, and click on my article, Selling Cars is Too Easy. Selling more cars is too easy. There's tons of information and 3 simple steps that'll help you sell more cars. And I think it'll help you sell more furniture as well.
I think so.
All right. There you have it. From the furniture guy and the car guy, DigiNinja Dealer School is over. We'll see